You've probably seen this experiment before, where the specific task given to participants blinded them to the man in a gorilla suit that casually walks in the middle of it all, pounds his chest, and then walks away. This experiment elucidated a very important component of how our minds work. At any given moment, your senses are bombarded with an endless amount of infinitely complex information, so our brains have devised systems of filtering out what's important versus what's just noise. In a very real sense, what you focus on dictates what the world looks like to you, what your life looks like. So the question arises, how does your brain decide what's most important? Is this something that you are fully conscious of, or is it influenced by factors outside of your awareness? This is probably something you haven't considered before, but this filter in your brain dictates everything about how you operate on a day-to-day basis. If we can become aware of this filter, of how it's painting our experience, we stop being marionettes to it, and it loses some of its power. And that's really all it takes. Simply cultivating awareness of this filter is enough to see drastic change. If you are able to cultivate this, your mind will operate in a completely different level from before. Pure awareness is a superpower, and it is one that is available to you right now. Let's back up a bit. What is this filter I'm referring to exactly? Well, it's your ego, the idea you have of yourself as you within your mind. It's the little voice inside your head. It's the criticism and judgment you place on yourself and others. It's your knack for daydreaming and imagination. It's your ability to lie to yourself about why you're eating that cookie or not exercising. This is something we have no control over. These thoughts simply appear within our minds, and most people simply go along with them without realizing that those thoughts aren't them, and they're actually being pulled away from reality. That this process is in fact creating their reality. Think about it like this. A noise is just sound waves floating in the air, but your brain automatically processes all of them and gives those sound waves meaning. Right now you are listening to my voice, and your brain is automatically processing that info, so that the random sound waves mean something to you. You don't have to force your brain to do anything, it simply happens. So the only thing we can do in this situation is to observe it happening. Observe the filter. Right now, in this moment, you're becoming aware of the filter because I just pointed it out to you. When I stop talking, that presence remains temporarily. But this is very ephemeral. If the silence goes on for long enough, your mind will jump in and say, okay, how long is this going to go for? And you might already be gone by then. That's okay. It's that space that you want to cultivate, the very subtle presence that remains once you take everything else away. You want to observe yourself as if you were a scientist. This is a new skill, so you may only be able to hold that space for a couple of seconds at first, but just like a muscle, you will get better over time and much more quickly than you imagine. You will start to notice how arbitrary the filter is. If someone says something that irritates you, is what they said inherently bad, or is it just your perception that it is bad? Your mind likely just gave you an answer to that question right now. Don't dismiss it or accept it. Simply be aware of it. The key is to not moralize, add any judgments, or try to pivot to what you should be feeling. Simply watch what comes up from the ether of your mind. You will start to ask yourself, if I can't control this filter, then perhaps that means it isn't me? And if that's the case, then where did it come from? If you are able to simply witness the way your filter is creating your reality, you can decide to accept or dismiss its interpretation. And that's incredibly powerful. You will be able to go beyond the fears and insecurities that manifest within you. If someone says you've put on weight, your filter used to decide whether you'd have a bad day or if you just brush it off. Now you get to decide that. It's a slippery little devil though, so you must commit to watching it like a hawk. You will also notice things manifest within you that are beyond your understanding. You will ask yourself, when I'm curious about something, is it that it's calling to me based on my innermost desires, or is it just an interpretation of my filter? Am I in control of what makes me interested in things? Am I in control of what I find beautiful? If not, then what is? If you are able to pay attention to these hunches and gut feelings, you will begin to realize that they are pointing to something beyond you, something much greater than the current confines of yourself. Same way as a great artist doesn't quite understand what they're doing as they're creating, almost as if the art was creating itself through them, you will begin to notice these energies within you. But if you're not aware, you will miss them. There you have it. That's our superpower. Presence, awareness. Cultivate it, and you will be able to interpret reality as it is, instead of through the warped perception of your filter, and you will be able to honor and cultivate the deeper energies that manifest inside of you. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you want a deeper dive into these concepts, I recommend you pick up The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Link is in the description.